Yo, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the 7th episode of the Spectacular Spider-Man. If you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell to not miss another episode in the future. I'm currently aiming to upload one of these every single Saturday, so make sure to tune in every weekend for a brand new Spectacular Spider-Man episode. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Episode 7, Business 101. We start our episode with Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin. The Green Goblin returns with Donald Menken to Fisk's base. He's tied down to a chair and the Goblin rips a bag off of his head. Menken looks up to see Fisk with a face of anger. Fisk crunches a menacing smile as he looks down at Menken, representing the shift in power between the two. Fisk mentions that he said he'd win. Kingpin goes on to monologue about how he's always liked a fair fight, and that he told Donald Menken that he was coming, and that he had time to prepare, but what did he do? Wallowed in his own self-pity. He goes on to say how he has all the money in the world, but where is his happiness? Menken angrily responds with that Fisk has no happiness and is just as soulless as the rest of us, and Fisk says that his happiness lies within taking this for his own, fighting for control. That's where Fisk gets his buzz. Menken squints and leans in and says that's not all true, is it? Fisk squints back almost angrily before moving on. Fisk had made his own move and won. Menken turns to the Goblin and says, "Who are you meant to be? Norman Osborn is dead." Menken's eyes widen. He says he knows who's under that mask and starts to get really worked up about it, before Fisk interrupts, and the Goblin lets out a gaggling chuckle. Fisk places a piece of paper in front of Menken, telling him to sign the contract, to legally place all of Oscorp's assets into his hands. Menken says no, and Fisk says that he'll find a way. Fisk says to Prowler to power up the machine. Prowler presses a button and Menken starts to be shocked. We cut to the Parker household as Peter comes home all bruised and battered. He gets flashbacks from the previous Goblin fight, showing the toll that the Goblin has had on his life. He's scared. Peter Parker is terrified of the Goblin. That, along with everything else that has been going on, Peter is at his breaking point. This season has really been testing Spider-Man's patience and resilience. Peter is being pushed to his absolute limit, and we're going to start to see the effects of that here. We then cut to a scene of Gwen and Captain Stacy. Gwen returns home to George and says that they found nothing. Harry is really missing and he could be anywhere. Captain Stacy says that he's sorry he had to leave. The Goblin is back and he was destroying Oscorp Tower. Gwen is shocked but goes on to say that you wouldn't believe who didn't show up, and she says that Peter never showed his face. And Captain Stacy says that he must have been doing something really important not to show up, as he cracks a little smile in the corner of his mouth. The next day they all go to class and things return fairly normally. They are in business class today. They teach the students an introduction to business and what the key elements of it are. I chose this subject for this episode purely as an expositionatory element to supplement the events taking place between Fisk, the Goblin, and Donald Menken, almost mirroring the villains and our heroes. We cut to a scene after class and Gwen approaches Peter in the hallway. She asks Peter why he didn't show up to the search, and she seems really annoyed at him. She says that Harry is out there somewhere and that he isn't helping. She starts to tear up a little bit. Peter says that he's sorry, and Gwen says that that isn't good enough at this point. It's like he doesn't care. She turns away from him and walks away. We then get a scene with Spider-Man swinging calmly through the city. He lands on a building and mentally goes through everything that is happening. He has the Kingpin stuff, the Goblin is back, Harry is missing, and so is Menken. What's next? Peter then has a realization. Maybe Harry is the Goblin. He has been taking the green again and no one has seen him. Then he stops himself, saying that he can't jump to them conclusions when they don't know anything about Harry's disappearance yet. Although it would make sense. He also reflects on the Gwen situation, saying that it's 1 step forward and 3 steps back with her. He tries to be there for her as Peter Parker, but struggles when Spider-Man's life comes in the way of that. Spidey then pulls out the piece of armor that fell off the Prowler, and says that with everything going on, he has to start somewhere. And hey, by any luck, all this could be connected, says Peter joyfully to himself. He then retracts and says that by his luck, probably not, but he'll have to see. We cut to a scene of Captain Stacy and Jean DeWolf at the office. They discuss how they're under a lot of pressure. Harry is missing, Menken is missing. Wolf questions if they could be connected through Oscorp, once again forwarding that idea that outsiders like the police and Spider-Man are starting to clock onto everything that has been happening. Stacy says that he's unsure, but it's not off the cards just yet, and says that they need to act, and they need to act fast. We cut to Kingpin, Goblin, and Menken. Kingpin continues to threaten Menken, saying if he doesn't comply, he will make sure he is destroyed, and Menken breaks and finally agrees, saying that he'll sign the contract. Fisk says to Mencken that he'll give everything up to save his own life, but will risk everything for his own family. Mencken says don't bring them into this, and it's this scene that then reveals that past we've been hearing so much about between Fisk and Mencken. It's revealed that they once knew each other in the criminal underworld a couple of years ago. Mencken and Fisk did deals together, and one time they had a big score. Mencken lied to Fisk about the deal and took everything for himself, showing his selfishness. That same day when Fisk found out, Mencken's family went missing, never to be seen again. This scene will show the type of person Mencken is. He cares more about his work and values his own life over his family, showing how selfish Mencken is at the core. Mencken will break down and Fisk will say, "You should have never backstabbed him," and goes on to say how he's finally had his revenge and shown Mencken who's top dog. New York will be ruled by the Kingpin once and for all. However, the Kingpin does keep to his word and does let Mencken go. Kingpin tells the Goblin to take him away. The Goblin gasses him and drags him away and flies off. We cut to a scene of Spider-Man swinging through the city as he lands near a building with the address that he dug up after researching for days on end about Alchemax. He says that this is the place that the Prowler tech supposedly originates from. Alchemax isn't a well-known tech company, so it's hard to track down. He says this place is fairly normal. The building isn't secluded, but isn't overly exposed either. He enters through a window and it's just a normal factory. The workers look up and see Spider-Man. Spidey drops down and says that he's here for someone called the Kingpin. The workers say that they've never heard of him. Spidey thinks that this is suspicious as he looks down to the worker's jacket and sees the same logo which was on the Prowler's armor. Spidey's confused. Spidey swings to the top of the building and sneaks through the vent. The worker activates his radio and tells Fisk that Spider-Man is here, revealing this is the cover-up factory, hiding Fisk's base. Fisk is shocked by this and says that this is their time to finally take him out. After having a little look around, Spidey couldn't find anything and was about to leave until all the doors close and the workers in the factory all aim guns at him. Spidey says, "Well, why don't you make it obvious, Fisk?" They all fire at him and Spidey dodges all the bullets, twisting and turning, taking the workers out one by one. He looks up to one of the security cameras and points, saying that he's here. Fisk grits his teeth. The Prowler is about to go and fight Spider-Man. However, Fisk stops him, saying no. It's his turn. A secret elevator door opens, and Fisk arrives into the factory, standing opposite Spider-Man. They exchange in dialogue, Peter's suit already ripped and teared from his encounter with the Green Goblin. He looks exhausted, and facing such a threat makes him look like he's even smaller, and with no fighting chance. Fisk says that he is impressed that he found his base of operations. Spidey says that he's not going to stop until he is behind bars. They face off, and Spidey gets beaten to a pulp. They come to a standstill, and Fisk says that this is his final warning. Fisk says that he always gets jobs done with ease, but Spider-Man made him try, which is impressive and yet admirable. But if he interferes with his plans again, he will kill him, and promises that. Spidey then manages to break free and escapes as he swings away. He tries to swing home but collapses on top of a building. Spidey never runs from a fight, but this time it was too much. If he is to stop Kingpin, brute force is not the way either. He takes his mask off and his face is bloodied and bruised. He finally gets home and narrates over the top. Harry is missing. The Goblin is on the loose. Fisk is more powerful than ever. And there's no word on Mencken. He needs to rest, but he won't. He can't rest until the chaos is over. So thank you for watching, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to like button, subscribe. If you are new, to not miss episode 8. We are very, very close to the end of this whole Kingpin Goblin saga that has been building and building and building all season long. I can't wait for you guys to see the end of this saga. It's going to be really, really cool. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to hit the bell so you don't miss that episode as soon as it does come out on the channel. You'll be one of the first ones to watch it and get your thoughts in on it. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Did enjoy, once again, like I did say, hit that like button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.